Sorry.
Okay, so before I begin, so my name's Hunter. I might be yawning. I didn't get much sleep last night, so forgive me for that. All right, so hold up. All right, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
You ready?
Go. Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hunter Noble. I chose Our American Cousin because not only I was interested into this event, the assassination, when I was a kid, but turns out my family has fought in the Civil War against slavery and fought for Lincoln. So I will not only be explaining the play that happened that night, but also the theater's history and other tragedies and other important stuff to the present. So here we go. So first, Ford's Theater wasn't actually built as a theater. It was actually first built as the First Baptist Church that occupied the site until 1859. Was built in 1834, but in 1861, a man named John T. Ford purchased the church and renovated it into a theater. And after a couple of fires in the late 1862, Ford had a new building erected, eventually becoming the theater as we all know today. As you can see here. Now for the play, Our American Cousin, played by Tom Taylor. The play that happened on that fateful night that would not only go down in history, but it would also change the theater forever. So first, the origins of the play. Our American Cousins was written in 1852 by an English playwright by Tom Taylor, named Tom Taylor, born in 1817 in Sunderland. It first premiered on October 15th in 1858 in New York City's Laura Keene's Theater, and the play was a 3-act play. As you can see here in illustrational art of how the play was set up. Now for the plot of Our American Cousin. So the play is about a coarse but earnest American named Asa Trenchard, I might be mistaken of the name, so encounters his patrician English relatives when he arrives in the United Kingdom to collect an inheritance. So interesting dialogue ensues, characters tend to be floppish, there is also love at first sight moments, and eventually, in the end, at an uplifting note, several characters decide to get married. Now, of course, the Civil War, it changed everything, including the theatrical business. So during the Civil War, the play was shown in several American cities, and one that took place in London on November 1861 at Haymarket Theatre, where it saw almost 500 performances. Wow, yeah. As you can see here, like I said, my family, one of them was a veteran in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and one was in the 116th Infantry in Ohio. I'm so blessed. Now, for the event that would change everything forever. April 14, 1865, President Lincoln and his wife, Mary, and their guest, Major Rathbone, and his wife went to the theater to watch, of course, Our American Cousin, which was already underway. They were kind of late, and eventually they stopped the play. They stopped the play to welcome the special guests, and the play went on. But eventually, the future of the country, the future of the Union, would eventually sadly come crashing down. Let's see here. So, an actor on stage named Henry Hawks said the words that changed history forever. "Well, I guess enough no turn you inside out, old gal. You psychologizing old man trap." And eventually the theater, of course, burst into laughter, but within less a couple seconds, everything hit the fan. Gunshot rang out. John Wilkes Booth, a Southern actor, shot Lincoln in the back of the head with a derringer. He tries to escape, but Major Rathbone tries to pull him back away, but Booth, with a dagger, stabs Major Rathbone to the shoulder, cutting it to the bone. He jumps between Mary and Lincoln's seat, but his boot get caught on the presidential stuff like the flag and the portrait of George Washington, thereby landing awkwardly onto the stage below, breaking his leg. And before he leaves, he looks at the audience, raises his dagger and saying, "Sic semper tyrannis," always to tyrants. But the theater was so crowded because of Lincoln being there that some think, he said, the South is avenged, and then he flees. And then after a couple of seconds of silence, that silence is broken by the screams of Mary Lincoln, and then soon the entire theater explodes in panic and screams. And of course, Lincoln was taken to the Peterson House across the street, where he would eventually pass away the next morning at 7:22 a.m., the first president to ever be assassinated. And the aftermath. After Lincoln passed away, there was no police tape. So eventually, like souvenir-hungry people took stuff from not only the Peterson House, but also the theater itself, including from the presidential box. And it turns out the assassination wasn't the only tragedy there. Years later, a brick support gave way, killing 22 people and injuring 68 others. And for the restoration and the legacy, and it turns out I have a relic, a wood relic from the 1960s renovation right here, which you can look after class. So in 1964, Congress funded a complete renovation to turn the historic building back into its 1865 original appearance. So since then, the site has been an historic site of working theater extending Lincoln's legacy through theater, history, and education. And I hope this presentation has inspired you to visit the theater yourself if you haven't seen it. And for the final stuff, so question, was sports theater a theater in the beginning? Let me know when you're all ready for the next one. You guys ready? All right. So the answer is no. It was first built as one of the first Baptist church in DC. And that is about it.